What's up, everybody? This is Jose with Oakland Latinos United, aka Oakland Latinos Unidos, the voice of the Latino community in the Bay Area, California, and beyond. So I'm on here with a new video for you to enjoy. It's been a couple weeks since I've done a video, trying to keep up on it, but it's hard because I've been busy. But I wanted to talk about sideshows and sideshow culture, and some of the craziness that's been going on lately with sideshows. But sideshows are a phenomenon. For those who don't know, or who aren't from California, they're a phenomenon that started in Oakland. And they're basically sort of like drag races in a way, for those who don't know. And usually it involves people driving up and down Foothill or East 14th in Oakland, and then spinning donuts on certain intersections. And, usually they're a spectacle where huge crowds of people, congregate to a corner or an area. And that's basically what it is. And, usually people driving recklessly around Oakland sometimes, too. It's a mixture of a lot of things. But sideshow culture is not nothing new. It's been around for years. I mean, it's been around probably the last 30 years. It was around when I was a kid. You know what I mean? It wasn't so popular back then, but it was known. I mean, there was a song made in 1989 by Richie Rich and when he had that group 415 called Sideshow. So obviously it was going on even back then. And I can remember my brothers who are older than me. They grew up in the 80s. They also tell me stories about like their homies and people they knew burning donuts, on Foothill or on East 14th back in the days, or in parking lots. But the sideshows originated in Oakland. Whether people like it or not, it's an Oakland thing. Sideshows originated in the 80s, and they were a mixture really of a lot of different things. And people might disagree with me, but even like the older guys who said they were part of the original sideshows have said the same thing. You see, sideshows were kind of like a mixture of a lot of different California car subculture. It had little elements of the lowrider cruises, which were popular. It had a little element of drag racing. It had a little element of a lot of things, you know what I mean? And it kind of added its own flavor with the spinning of donuts, you know what I mean? Maybe people were spinning donuts before, I don't know, maybe they were. But it definitely became a big thing in Oakland. And it originated mostly with black teenagers in the Deep East, back in the early 80s, when they would cruise around in their cars. Back then they had they had Cadillacs, they had, Chevs, Mustangs, Cougars, and at that time it was cruising Vogues, and they would cruise around Foothill, and they would hit up places like Foothill Square or Eastmont Mall, or the old McDonald's that used to be across the street from the Eastmont Mall in Foothill, you know what I mean? And then it would kind of be like parking lot pimping, where they would hit up a parking lot and like show off their cars. And then it kind of morphed into more things where, if you had a high performance car, you would just spin donuts on the intersection. And I remember hearing about sideshows when I was young, but I didn't know really what they were. I remember the 415 song by Richie Rich, obviously. And the first time I ever seen a sideshow personally was about 1995. And the irony was, I was in a car just like this one in the picture, a Delta 88. A scraper, basically, way before scrapers were even known. You gotta think, in 1995, everybody was rolling, Cougars, old schools, Mustangs, 5.0s, Impalas. That was like the thing, you know what I mean? It was like old schools and lowriders. That was like the big thing in Oakland back then. And yeah, and then like I remember one time I was kicking it with these girls, me and my homeboy, we were kicking it with these girls we knew, and we were cruising down Foothill, and we hit High Street, and something was going on. We didn't know what it was, so we went over there to check it out. We seen a crowd, and there was just like a crowd of people, you know what I mean? And they were burning donuts right across the street from Fremont High School. And we were like, damn, this shit's dope, you know what I mean? We had never seen nothing like that. We'd heard of it, but we had never seen it. So, I remember back then it was mostly black dudes doing it. There was a few Latinos with us there, but, we was in the town. Nobody was tripping like that. And I remember the police broke it up, and we just left. And after that, I remember we would hit Foothill periodically, and we would run into sideshows, so we'd go and check it out. in the deep over there, like on 106 by Foothill Square, or by the Eastmont Mall, or over there by Pack and Save over there by the Coliseum when they used to do it down there, or home base. You know, that was back in the days, you know what I mean? Way back. And I remember going to sideshows probably from around 95 to about 2003. You know, I would periodically go to them from time to time. I stopped going once they started getting more violent and more crazy, but you know what I mean? I remember when I would go in the 90s, they were rowdy, but they weren't as crazy and violent as what they become later on. You know what I mean? I just remember it was mostly just an Oakland thing, and it was mostly just folks from different hoods in Oakland who would show off their cars and cruise around Foothill and then burn donuts on intersections like High Street or on Seminary, or, you know, over there by the Eastmont Mall, or Pack and Save, or 106, or Foothill Square. You know, that's what I remember the sideshow being. After that, you know, it began to change. Documentaries like Sideways came out. The song, I think it was called Sideways, with Baby Bash and a few other rappers, came out in 98 or 7 on the Black and Brown 17 Reasons compilation. Go Dumb USA came out. I was actually in that documentary, believe it or not. I was in another sideshow documentary where you can see me on the corner of High Street kicking it with my homies, watching the sideshow too, in around 2000. And yeah, once the documentaries started coming out, that's when the popularity of sideshows started expanding, and that's when you started seeing all kinds of people and all kinds of different races coming to Oakland to check out sideshows. You know, you started seeing blacks, whites, Asians, you know, Latinos, everything, you know what I mean? And the sideshows just began growing and growing, and it was obviously they weren't people from Oakland for the most part. And as time passed, Oakland sideshows began to spread to other cities like Los Angeles, like, you know, Sacramento, you know, Stockton, Fresno. Now there's sideshows all over the fucking California, you know what I mean? And people come from all over California to Oakland to do sideshows. Now, this video isn't really about talking shit about sideshows, because I used to be part of that culture, and it's part of car culture in general, just like Lowrider was, just like old school cars were, just like muscle cars were, whatever. You know what I mean? It's part of our California car culture. The thing I can't get behind is the violence that happens at sideshows. You know, shootings, fights, you know, smashing people's cars, and just general recklessness and not giving a fuck. You know, about a month ago, a group of kids, most of them who weren't even from Oakland, came to do all kinds of crazy sideshows all around Oakland, and then they ended up fucking pulling a guy from a semi-truck at gunpoint, looting all his shit, and then lighting his car on fire, his big truck on fire, and then they lit an AC Transit bus on fire. And what the fuck is the point of that? You know what I mean? That's so stupid. You know what I mean? For one, it was a working class guy, and I heard he was a Latino, who was just doing his job. And just like the rest of you broke-ass fools out there, he's probably like your parents, just working hard while you guys are acting a fool. You know what I mean? And then burning up a bus. I mean, that just brings heat, not just on people in Oakland, but on the whole sideshow scene in general. You know, why would you want to bring heat on your own selves? Because now they're trying to pass all kinds of crazy laws. San Jose is actually trying to pass a law where it'll be a felony to be at a sideshow. Oakland wants to pass those kind of laws too, where they're going to automatically take away cars, make it a felony, and that's going to affect people in Oakland or people in the poor neighborhoods and the barrios, because the police now are going to use that as an excuse to fuck with everyday people who probably ain't even part of sideshows. Maybe they just happen to be passing by and they get caught up in some bullshit, you know what I mean? The thing is, I'm not against sideshows. I'm against some of the stupidness that happens at sideshows and how irresponsible and crazy they've become. Because I don't remember them being so crazy, to be honest with you, when I was young. I remember once about the hyphy movement started in the 2004, 5, 6. Is when they started just getting really crazy, and you started hearing about shootouts and crazy-ass fights and people getting their cars smashed and all kinds of just crazy shit I began hearing about. By that point, I wasn't going to sideshows or nothing like that, but, you know, it had totally changed from what I remember it. Like I said, when I remember it, they weren't so big, and they were mostly just like something that would happen in Oakland, and mostly just folks in the town were doing it. You know what I mean? And they weren't so violent. At least not that I remember. Maybe there was violence, but I just don't remember them being that violent. And, you know, there's really no reason. If you're going to show off your car and you're going to go have a good time, go have a good time. There's no reason to shoot at people or bring guns or do crazy shit or light cars on fire or smash people's shit. You know what I mean? That's just fucking stupid. That's fucking stupid. It's retarded. You know what I mean? It makes no fucking sense. You know what I mean? It makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, old school cultures like lowrider cultures and were demonized, you know what I mean? And they didn't even do half of the crazy shit that these fools do now, you know what I mean? But, you know, you only have yourself to blame if it gets hot for you guys, because you guys are the ones doing stupid shit. You guys are the leaders of your own destiny, you know what I mean? And you guys are turning the Sideshow into a violent, crazy thing, and you're making it hot for yourselves, which makes no sense, you know what I mean? But the Sideshows really aren't the thing from Oakland that I remember. They become pretty much a more Northern California thing now that started in Oakland and has spread to other places. And, you know, I don't know what the future of Sideshows are going to be after what happened a month ago with the burning of the bus and the truck, you know, which was really retarded, and it really pissed off a lot of people, you know what I mean? But, you know, especially with people coming from other cities that aren't even from Oakland and do stupid shit like that in Oakland, it don't make no motherfucking sense whatsoever. But, you know, it is what it is, you know what I mean? And, I don't know. I really don't know as much to say about it. I mean, I grew up in that culture as well. I grew up in the lowrider culture, and I grew up in the Sideshow culture. So I got the best of both worlds, you know what I mean? I remember the old days before scrapers, when everyone had big body cars and big engine cars, you know what I mean? 8-cylinders, V8s, Mustangs, Cougars, you know, shit like that. 6.4 Impalas and shit like that. Old school shit that, you know, these fools now don't know nothing about. Grand Nationals and shit like that, you know what I mean? But, yeah, I mean, you're just making it hot for yourself, man, by doing stupidity. You know, it's cool if you want to burn donuts or do what you got to do. I understand. I was young. I was reckless. We all were. You know what I mean? But just be aware of what you're doing and be aware of your community and be aware of other people, man. Don't be a fucking stupid pendejo. You know, just doing dumb shit, not giving a fuck about the repercussions. And then crying about it when you get caught up. You know what I mean? But that's really all I have to say. The Sideshows ain't what it used to be. That's for damn sure. That's old school Oakland shit, which don't exist no more. But it is what it is. This is Jose, over and out.